Had you any reason to believe, Miss Ashby, that Patrick might be contemplating taking his own life?
No, I hadn't. The death of his parents had been a great shock, of course, but he seemed to have accepted that very well.
On this particular Saturday afternoon, had he behaved unusually at all? Did he appear depressed or unhappy?
On the contrary, he was looking forward very much to going bird-watching up at Melchett Quarry.
Alone?
Yes.
Did he spend a lot of his time on his own?
Yes, he and Simon generally had entirely different interests. He was quite often out all day with his binoculars and a packet of sandwiches. Bird-watching bores Simon. His tastes are mechanical.
Do many people use the cliff path to the beach?
Well, I doubt it. It's a pretty rough climb. It's much easier to take the lane towards Westover, even if it does take longer.
Hello, Sheila.
And where were you this morning?
Sorry, I should have run.
I waited around for you for nearly half an hour, and we're frantically busy with that bird show at the moment.
Well, I decided to give up riding.
Good.
I'm sure it always hurt me far more than it hurt the stupid horse.
You never were any good at it.
Well, I only did it to see sexy Simon, didn't I?
So, you've decided to give that up too, have you?
No, I can see Simon anytime I like.
Really?
The anchor. Upstairs bar.
Silly cow.
So that's where he goes.
We have heard that the boy's jacket was found by a coast guard about 50 yards from the cliff edge. He immediately instituted a search for a body on the beach. No body was found.
Mr. Patrick. Oh, I didn't know you were against the light. It's good to see you back again.
Thanks.
Well, you seem more at home in a forge than you used to.
Well, I've earned my living as a farrier since the last time I saw you.
Is that so? Honey, any Ashby was going to make his living out of this, it should have been your brother. You were never very interested. Too busy up at the old quarry looking for birds' nests, you were.
Was Simon any good?
Well, enthusiastic, let's say. As I remember, he only ever made a sheep crook, and that not over well. But he was always round here, couldn't keep him away. Real craze with him it was.
When was that?
Well, some of you went off. I misremember normally, only he was round here watching me work the day you ran off.
All day?
Oh, in and out, but never far away. Real craze it was.
You want to hang that up over the door?
Cold iron over the threshold? Never. Keep the little people away. The fair is.
Oh, friendly with them, are you?
Do all my washing and keep the house clean, according to local gossip.
Oh, I hope that wasn't the wine. What was it? Oh, my lord.
Perhaps Mr. Sandal likes his seafood with dog hairs in. Has Brat said anything to you about Simon's drinking? They had a terrible row on Monday. Simon was so drunk, I really don't think he knew what he was saying.
A row about what?
Brat took timber out.
What, without Simon's permission?
Timber belongs to Latchets, not to Simon. And let's face it, as from tomorrow, Latchets belongs to Brat.
I wish you'd told me about this right away.
Brat not said anything?
Not a word.
It was horrible on Monday. Simon was so vicious. He practically accused Brat of being an imposter.
What did Brat say?
Nothing. If it had been me, I'd have knocked Simon's teeth in.
Greg, Jeannie says you keep maps in here. Thanks. Do you know anything about Melchett Quarry?
It's no place to take horse.
You think a pit like that would fill up with water?
Drains away to the sea. You been up there today?
I swear when I was a kid, I used to climb down there.
Never.
Sure. I can remember standing at the bottom looking up.
Nobody's been down that hole in 20 years.
I must be thinking somewhere else then.
You will not find it marked on there.
Happy birthday for tomorrow. Does your brother go in for this sort of thing?
Who the hell cares what he does?
You hate him, don't you? Oh, I don't blame you. He's got a nerve coming back to take over the business. Tomorrow's the big day, then.
So they tell me.
Never mind. Perhaps he'll let you buy a new car.
I don't need favors from that little worm.
How did you get on before?
Before?
Before he ran away, when you were kids.
Patrick and I had nothing in common. Nothing except Latchets, of course. And we could never share that, could we?
Are you decent? Whoops. Why bother? I've seen it all before.
What's all this?
Colours for the race next week. They'll have to be ironed, so I thought you'd better choose which one you wanted.
Was Simon out riding this afternoon?
I don't know, I was in Westover. Why?
Oh, I like to know where he is nowadays, so I can be somewhere else. How about this one?
Awful.
I suppose your doctor friend will be riding at the show.
Roger? Well, if he isn't too busy.
Bet he'd look just great in Violet and Primrose.
These were actually made for Father first. Then they had to be taken in for Simon to wear, then let out again as he got bigger. Some of them are just hanging together, but they should fit you all right. Don't. Please?
Eleanor. Patrick? So bloody confident, aren't you? You still intend to go through with it tomorrow?
I see nothing to prevent me.
I could. And you know it.
Then why don't you?
My reasons needn't concern you. How much do you want to go away? Come on, you don't give a damn about Latchets and the Ashbys.
Oh, yes, I do. If not for myself, then for him.
Patrick? What's Patrick to you, for God's sake?
You know how he died, don't you?
I may do.
How did it happen? Who or what are you trying to hide?
Now that would be telling. We seem to have discovered a mutual interest in each other's silence. What a wonderful spiritual twinship we have after all.
Don't be too sure about that.
What do you want, Farrar? Who are you? Retribution, Simon. Don't you recognize me?
I'm warning you for your own good. You sign any papers tomorrow, you're dead.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Patrick and Simon. Happy birthday to you.
I hope you don't mind. I thought we'd have a family celebration tonight. There's no knowing how long Mr. Sandal will be with us tomorrow.
Well, I certainly didn't expect any of this. Did you?
Open mine first. Ours, it's a joint present.
These have been arriving for days.
There's not much for you, I'm afraid. I think it's mostly from people who don't know you're back yet.
Open it.
Happy birthday. Oh, the big square one's from the rectory. George says you can change it if it doesn't fit.
And the long, thin one's from Eleanor.
Well, I can't imagine what this is. She certainly wrapped it well.
She wrapped it. I chose it. Both paid.
But now then, you two.
Hey! Wow. Will you look at that?
Put it on.
All right, all right.
Patrick bird watching. Simon at the blacksmith. Patrick's suicide note.
It is the verdict of this court that Patrick Ashby succumbed to a passing impulse at a moment when the balance of his mind was disturbed.
But why walk 2 miles from a precipice to throw yourself off a cliff? Ah, the hell with this.
He was here watching me work the day you ran off. In and out, but never far away. Never far away. Never far away.
Good morning, Brat.
Good morning, sir.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Oh, and thanks for the sweater, too. It fits perfectly.
Good, don't go. It's a pity we haven't had time for a chat before now. I don't know how to put this, but I gather there's a lot of ill feeling between you and Simon.
Oh, it'll sort itself out.
I hope so, for your aunt's sake.
I hope that too, Mr. Lenningham.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Can I be perfectly honest?
Of course.
Well, I must confess, I can't quite fathom you out at all. There's more to a person than physical presence, you know. After parents, I don't suppose there's anyone who remembers a boy so much as the man who taught him. And there's nothing about you that I recognize. That's all I wish to say.
of you. If you must make a noise, go and play somewhere else. I don't want Mr. Sandal to see this morning. I'm quite sure he doesn't want any grievous bodily harm done to his car. All right?
Yes, Aunt Bee.
Your father's fortune isn't what it was in the days when he inherited it, of course, but it should be sufficient to ensure that you can live here in the future without anxiety. Thanks to your aunt's stewardship, the money comes to you intact. It's largely due to her planning and conserving that this is still the fine yeoman inheritance that it is.
Where do I sign?
Oh,
Another one?
perhaps the one of most immediate importance, personal income.
Well, they're pretty small, aren't they? These allowances?
In accordance with the size of the estate.
Oh, surely they can be stepped up a bit.
You can't be expected to carry passengers.
I don't think they're getting enough.
Your aunt has her own income. She's never taken an allowance from the Latchett's estate, except her housekeeping one, of course. Ruth and Jane are still at school. Both Simon and Eleanor are quite capable of earning their own living. However, I do think it might be in order for Eleanor's allowance to be increased a little while she's at Latchett's or till she marries.
Is she thinking of getting married?
In my experience, all young ladies think about getting married.
What about Simon's allowance?
I suggest an increased allowance as long as he gives you his services here.
No, that's not good enough. I think Simon should get a piece of the estate. It's morally owing to him. I'm not signing this until it's settled the way I want it.
One can't hand out bits of a financial estate and keep it in good heart. Giving away of the fabric of the thing is to damage his whole structure. No, you can't expect me to countenance that.
All right. Then I suggest that if Simon starts up somewhere on his own, money should be lent to him out of the estate without interest.
So be it. I'll have this altered.
Is that it, then?
Oh, we shall require Uncle Charles's signature, but that's merely a formality. Well, Patrick, congratulations. You've now succeeded to your inheritance.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 98th Spurs Horse Show. Weather looks as if it might improve during the course of the afternoon.
Here's your lunch ticket, in case we get split up. What time do the pubs open? These are my people, Alec. Behave yourself. I do not like horses. They're altogether too large. Why do you insist on coming here today? Do look at them. All so content with their horsey lot. Quite unaware that there are other worlds to conquer. Oh, it's all so damned homespun and fossilized. Do you know nothing has changed since I was a child here? Of course, it never will change. I find that thought rather satisfying. If you don't like the people and the horses, what are you going to do all day?
Don't worry about me. I expect I shall become frightfully interested in rural industries or something.
Marion Foster on marzipan, followed by Jane Ashby on four-poster. Marion, what is it about
It's Jane!
Jane has the best seat of all the Ashbys.
Oh, yes? Is there a prize?
Yes, a cup for the best rider under 16.
Good girl.
When's Simon on?
About midday.
It's a bit nippy up here, isn't it?
This isn't really your cup of tea, is it?
It's all right.
It was sweet of you to come and cheer Simon on.
That lot of thanks I'm going to get from him.
Your event next, Mr. Tiselli.
I really don't think you're ready for this, Tony.
My dad will commit suicide if I'm not allowed to try.
Well, good luck.
Walk on.
Simon Parks on Shannon. Second, Priscilla Welch on Queen Mab.
Hey, well done, Jane. Veterans 11, eh?
I won't with this class, the tall girl on the grey wheel.
Poor Tony. He doesn't stand a chance.
Oh, my God! Oh, dear, poor Eleanor. She'll never live this down.
gurgled with shame.
He's fantastic. Where'd he learn those circus
Not
tricks?
from me, that's for sure.
Oh, cheer up, miss. Could have been worse. At least it didn't yodel.
In ring 2, the Class 20 intermediate show jumping competition has now been completed, and the stewards are busy setting up the fences for one of the most exciting events of the afternoon, the open jumping. This year, we have a new cup presented by Mr. Vincent Akers. 20 competitors this afternoon, one or two familiar to you from more illustrious venues. I'm thinking in particular...
Isn't this a little ridiculous? You're not exactly inconspicuous in that outfit.
Did you do as I asked?
Ask, that's rich.
Did you?
No, I didn't. Simon's been tailing me. It's too risky.
Look, no silly games, Farrar. Please, not now.
Don't worry, you'll get your money.
When?
Tonight, after midnight. Simon should be too drunk by then to see his own 2 feet.
Oh, very well. I suppose I can wait a few more hours to thumb my nose at equity.
What?
Oh, didn't I tell you? I should be starting a new life in Australia, not as an actor.
The further away, the better.
We'll be keeping in touch, of course. You'll be wanting to know where to send my money, won't you?
1 o'clock loading. Latchet stables.
You will remember, won't you? This is only the first of my quarterly allowances.
I'm not likely to forget.
If you spoil my cozy future, Brat Farrar, I'll ruin yours. Is that crystal clear?
How's she doing?
Oh, she's out of it, I'm afraid. This is a second-round jump-off. Peggy Gates is leading with 4 faults.
What about Simon?
Oh, he's still to jump
Well,
again.
that's 8 faults for young Eleanor Ashby and George.
Jane got a cup for jumping.
Hey, well done, Jane. So much for the tall girl in the grey, eh?
Here's Simon on
Following
timber.
Eleanor, we have her brother Simon Ashby on timber. That's a clear round for Simon Ashby on timber. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
You're the real thing, you old devil. So you, that was magic. Coming from a rodeo rider, that's no compliment. Is Chevron playing up?
No, sir. Crowd's warrior. That's the real one for the race. He'd go like the wind.
Yes, I wish I'd entered him now. They've improved the course this year. Well, how about me riding him? Oh, you're not up to handling timber in a race. You want to bet?
Why, he's as fresh as a daisy. Go on, Mr. Simon. Let him have some fun.
Oh, Chevron's already entered. You can change horses at a small meet like this, surely.
Colonel Smollett's the man to see, sir.
Oh, then leave me to him.
Right, sir. If you wouldn't mind saddling him up again, Mr. Simon.
The slightest sign of trouble, I'll pull him out.
That's sorry, sir.
I seem to be overruled.
You can't lose on our timber.
Roland Purvis of Perfect Crime, the full team scratch, and Jeff Baker has also withdrawn Dirty Jack. But last year's winners, Dr. Roger Smith and Katie Finn, still amongst the field. And as
Good luck.
And you.
He has allowed Patrick Ashby to weigh in with a new move. Timber, not chevron as printed in your program.
They started!
National Grid challenge now by Timber. Patrick Ashby on Timber with National Grid as they take the first. Both safely open. Plenty of room at these fences with only 6 runners. Timber is now half length from Morris Bushy on National Grid, half a length down on Timber. Timber clean over the brushes of the third with National Grid. Roger Spence and Shady Wynn are beginning to move up. Timber is moving away from the field now. 2 lengths clear. Patrick Ashby on Timber was 2 lengths clear of Morris Bushy on National Grid. And over the fifth with Timber pulling away from the pack. Patrick Ashby on Timber. 3 lengths clear now. Timber is going away still. They're coming round to the... No! Patrick Ashby has come off.
Something wrong.
He's
He's gone. I can't see him. That bloody horse.
Ashby doesn't look serious with her. We think, yes, he's lost his saddle. Bad luck, but Timber's he's gone to learn.
God for that.
Don't worry. He's been a cowboy. Cowboys don't get hurt.
He's rejoining the race. He's going on bareback. Extraordinary. Well, we've certainly never seen anything like this at the first show before. A lot of skill and determination there. Timber doesn't seem too sure about it, and they'll be disqualified, of course, but they're chasing her.
Come on, Timber! He'll be disqualified. He can? Well, as good as. Ride him, cowboy!
Timber together. Timber and Ashley enjoying themselves. Shady Wynn still out in front. Coming to the last but one now. Timber goes clear of Rackets, and Ashley is working his way through the field. My word, he's moving well. And Ashley in the red and black, saddle or no saddle. He wants to make a race of it. He's even put new heart into Rackets. Patrick is catching the leaders. Amazing! Coming up to the last fence, Timber and Shady Wynn together. It's all on the run in. Patrick or Roger Spence. And Timber gets there by half a length. I've never seen anything like it. Give him a big hand over the encoder.
What do you think?
What happened?
We came first.
Oh, well done.
Well done, dog.
Hail the conquering hero.
Only just.
Your accident was no surprise to Simon.
Well, so the Ashleys cover themselves in glory yet again.
It really is quite boring.
See for yourself, sir. The brake's far too clean. It's been half cut through, right under the bubble.
Yeah, I checked the girth before the race. I just never spotted it.
You could have been killed, sir. So could Mr. Simon during the jumping.
Yeah.
This is a job for the police, Mr. Patrick.
I'd rather not involve them. Not just yet. In fact, I don't want anyone to know about this. Okay?
Right, sir.
Where's Patrick?
Well, he's gone to bed, I think. Why weren't you in for supper?
I wasn't hungry.
This can't go on, Simon. You and Patrick will just have to sort things out.
Absolutely.
were you expecting?
Who the hell do you think? We gotta talk.
First things first. Thank you.
It's all there. In used notes.
Well, the Antipodes won't know what's hit them. Incidentally, I owe you an apology.
Oh?
About Simon knowing you're not Patrick.
Yeah, he's not the only one. I'm damn sure your brother does too.
Yeah, it's possible. But then neither of them have any proof, do they?
You're so certain of that?
Oh, dear boy. You're now the legal owner of all this. Bluff it out.
Patrick Ashby didn't commit suicide. He was murdered. Patrick's body was never washed ashore because he was never in the sea. He was thrown at the old Melchett quarry.
Well, if that's true, Simon couldn't possibly have done it. I mean, he was with old, what's her name, all day, you know, the blacksmith.
No. I've spoken to Mr. Pillbeam. He says Simon was in and out all day. Now, I've timed it from the forge to the quarry. On his bicycle, I figure Simon could have got there and back in less than 15 minutes.
What about Patrick's suicide note? How do you explain that?
Written with Patrick's pen, but not by him. And then left in his jacket on the edge of the cliff so that everyone would draw the wrong conclusions.
Well, it's all very ingenious, but none of this is evidence against Simon.
Simon doesn't seem to think so.
He knows you suspect him?
Why the hell do you think he got through my saddle girth yesterday? He's known from the start that I wasn't Patrick. Because he killed Patrick.
If this is true, we've got Simon exactly where we want him. I mean, he can hardly expose you.
For Christ's sake. He killed his own brother, and now he's trying to kill me. We've got to go to the police.
Are you out of your tiny mind? I warn you, Farrar, if you so much as dream
If I go to the police, there's nothing you or Simon or anyone else can do about it. Unless you want to try your hand at murder, too.
Oh, very well. Go ahead. I only hope they believe your story. I'm certainly not hanging around to share the consequences. Look, if you can't or won't do a deal with Simon, fill up a few more bags like this and do a bunk. That's my advice.
And leave Latchets to Simon? Leave him with Bea and the kids? And Eleanor?
That's where he belongs. That's where he's always been. Oh, come lie with me on Bondi Beach, old sport. God's own country. You'll love it. Oh, all right. I'll drop you a postcard from Sydney.
It's not for me.
The Ashby residents, to whom am I speaking?
Would have been nice to have Patrick Ashby on a cup again this year.
Oh, there'll be plenty more opportunities.
Good grief.
I should have given that child a gag for her birthday. In future, come and fetch me. That shout was loud enough to stampede every cow in the county. Hello? This is Beatrice Ashby. I'm sorry, could you speak up, please? It's a very bad line. think it's Uncle Charles.
Hello? Oh, Charles, how lovely. Where are you?
Where? Well, of course we can put you out. Thursday, yes, that's fine, darling. We're all dying to see you. Aye. He'll be arriving at Gatwick on Thursday.
Oh, great.
Yeah, great. Another bed to make up.
You better get Brat up and tell him the good news.
I'll go.
Morning.
I gotta talk to you.
We shan't be disturbed. My brother seems to have gone back to London early this morning.
Sure.
Sit down.
Thanks. You know, don't you, that I'm not Patrick Ashby?
You have many things in common with Patrick, as well as your appearance. But it's almost certain we've never met.
And why have you kept quiet?
And no evidence to prove you were an imposter. It seemed to me the situation would resolve itself without my interference. Judging by this visit, I was right.
Well, I haven't come here just to tell you I'm not Patrick.
No? Running a country parish conditions one to shock. Whatever it is you want to tell me, I shall treat it as confession. Oh, damn. Excuse me. Guest gate 2384. I heard it.
It's all right. He's at the rectory.
What's he doing over there?
Chatting to George.
I'm sorry, young man. This is all mere supposition. You have absolutely no case against Simon.
If I'm right, then the evidence is easily obtained.
You're right, then the law must be invoked.
Very well, I'm willing.
I've got to have time to think about this.
What is there to think about? Look, he murdered Patrick. Now he's trying to murder me.
You're the only guilty party in this affair at the moment, Mr. Farrar.
Were you surprised when Patrick Ashby committed suicide?
Yes, very.
Do you know anyone who wasn't surprised?
No.
Well, then.
Well, suicide is always surprising, is it not?
I give up.
You're asking me to take an awful lot on trust.
I'm asking you for help. Can't you see that?
Perhaps. But I have to consider the possibility you may be making all this up.
What?
Well, you've already confessed to being a liar and a cheat. Now, listen. I cannot involve my old and dearest friends in a public scandal.
Okay, forget it. I'll handle this on my own.
Well, where are you going? Brat.
Where's Simon?
I don't know.
there's no reply from George. I just don't understand it. What are they both up to?
You're so bloody predictable. Go ahead and cut it. I'll just stand here on this ledge and yell my head off till someone comes. Nice try, old chap. But you forget, this quarry is a personal acquaintance of mine. Almost a relation, you might say. You were so eager to imitate Patrick in life. I assume you'll be only too happy to share his death. That stupid little runt could never have taken over at Latchett's. He wasn't tough enough. I knew that. Everybody knew it. Simon! Simon!
Hello, George.
Any change?
Poor Uncle Charles. Halfway around the world for this.
Oh, terrible.
Yes, I know. I've been living on tea and coffee for 3 days.
You must eat. Let me take you somewhere.
Oh, I couldn't eat, George.
Did you find the brew warm or comfortable?
No, it's too far from the hospital.
Is he conscious yet?
Roger Spencer's been marvellous. He says they're better indications today.
Good.
He thinks there's a chance of his regaining consciousness. Not necessarily. He's living.
Told the girls yet?
Always sent the twins back to school early. It seemed best. I've told Eleanor everything. I didn't want her to find out from anyone else now that the press have got hold of it.
How did she take it?
I don't know. She's still terribly shocked. Maybe I told her too soon. What is it?
Patrick's pen. They found it in one of Brat's pockets.
Poor little Patrick.
I blame myself for this. If I'd acted at once, I could have prevented another death.
Will you say prayers for him tonight, George?
Yes, of course. But when our prayers are answered, what then?
I don't know. I haven't thought. Whatever he's done, I still can't think of him except as one of us. One of the family. Oh, God. What Simon must have gone through all his years. He was only a child, Charles. I feel I failed him.
Oh, rubbish me.
We must do something to find out who Brat really is.
Well, there's no point if he doesn't recover. You want me to put it in hand? I have all the time in the world.
Would you?
You can't bring yourself to believe that he hasn't any Ashby blood in him, can you?
Well, I just can't believe that a resemblance like that would exist without it. We do have some leads. He told George that he was born in Canterbury and brought up in a children's home.
Is there any reason why we should believe anything that young man said?
Well, why on earth shouldn't we?
But he's a criminal. A con man.
But I can't explain. You'll understand when you meet him.
Understand what?
Why we still love him.
It's Eleanor who worries me. She refuses to talk about it to anyone. Not about Patrick or Simon or this wretched man in the hospital.
I think Eleanor may be more emotionally involved with Brat than we realize.
There seems to be no end to the surprises Latchett has in store.
If Brat recovers, what do you think will happen to him?
When the police have completed their investigations, the papers will have to go on to the Director of Public Prosecutions. As I read the matter, it all swings on the boy's real intentions.
In the end, they were good and honest, surely.
There's a question of the money he handed over to that Machiavellian brother of yours.
I'll make that good. It's the last thing I do.
Well, we shall see. The law is the law, whatever our good intentions, or Brat's. Walter. That boy looks exactly as Walter used to look when he had a hangover.
I'd rather you didn't stay too long.
Well, he's all right, isn't he?
Gracious, yes. Just a bit weary. He got up this morning for the first time.
Thank you.
I brought someone to see you.
Police? An intuitive reaction. I have the look of a man of authority. My name is Charles Ashby. Minor diplomat, retired. I'm not a cop.
I've already told the police everything I know, B. What's going to happen now?
We'll talk about the future when you're really better. Sister Green says you got up this morning.
I'd like to talk to Eleanor. She hasn't been to the hospital, has she?
He's old Walter's son. There's no doubt about that.
Well, it's no good. I just can't see the resemblance.
The boy's certainly got a better face than Walter's. But then he's led a darn sight healthier life. He's Walter's son. I'll bet my pension on it. We should have confirmation in a day or two.
So that makes him my cousin, I suppose.
Ah, evening, Eleanor.
Yes, Brat is probably your cousin.
So he really is an Ashby after all. That's a laugh.
Now, there's your mother. Mary Woodward. She was a cook for a farming family in Gloucestershire. Now, Walter Ashby, your father, ran the stable there. Now, when she knew she was going to have his baby, she left the farm. She told everyone she was going to live with an aunt in Canterbury. Your father offered to marry her, it seems, but she refused him. She never came back, never wrote to anyone. Your father spent months looking for her and the child. But there was no aunt in Canterbury. Your mother just disappeared. There's no knowing what happened to her.
So I really am an Ashby after all. Funny. I always felt that I was.
But with no claim to Latchett's. That reverts to the trustees for the time being.
Oh, the inheritance was never important to me. Please believe that. What mattered was belonging.
I see.
Jane wants you to look after her ponies while she's away.
Some of those old crocks should be on casters instead of hooves.
Hate you.
I wouldn't blame you if you did.
Doctor's orders.
Welcome back to Latches.
Welcome home, Brat.